What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Today is the day Icewind Dale Rime of the Frostmaiden is officially launched on D&D Beyond. So as usual, we're going to talk about it. And most of this book is just the Icewind Dale Rime of the Frostmaiden adventure. However, there are some new things that you can take from this book and put into your own game. We have new spells, we have new magic items, new spell books. So we're going to break this up into a couple videos and talk about each one of those things, starting with the new spells. So without further ado and further delay, let's just jump right into it. So these are the spells, and it is described here as characters who obtain the Codicil of White from Oral's Abode or incantations of Erolarthus in Urine can discover one or more of the following wizard spells. So these are spell books, or these are spells that are found in spell books, but these are now officially part of the 5e spell set, so you could take these and run them in your own games regardless. So to begin, we have the new 9th level spell, Blade of Disaster, a 9th level conjuration with a 1 bonus action casting time, range 60 feet with a concentration up to 1 minute. You create a planar rift about 3 feet long in an unoccupied space you can see within range. The blade lasts for the duration. When you cast this spell, you can make up to 2 melee spell attacks with the blade, each one against a creature, loose object, or structure within 5 feet of the blade. On a hit, the target takes 4d12 force damage. If the attack scores a critical hit and the number is a d20 of 18 or higher, so 3 possible chances for a crit. On a crit, the blade deals an extra 8d12 force damage for a total of 12d12 force damage. As a bonus action, you can move the blade up to 30 feet to an unoccupied space you can see and then make up to 2 melee attacks with it again. So you can attack with this as a bonus action for the course of over 1 minute. And the blade can harmlessly pass through any barrier, including Wall of Force. So right away, let's talk about the elephant in the room, and let's talk about that insane crit damage. So for starters, it would deal 4d12. Now, I don't believe that the extra 8d12 on a crit is considered doubled. I believe that this is just additive damage on top of the 4d12, which is crit. So you would get 4d12 times 2 and then add your 8d12 on top of that. The 8d12 is not doubled. So that is how the crit multiplier would work, I'm assuming. And being able to do this as a bonus action means that you get your entire turn to cast other things that aren't necessarily concentration spells. Again, you can only have one at a time. But any caster, and these are wizard spells, by the way, in case you couldn't see that. If you move it like right here, you can see these are considered wizard spells. So there's that. So any wizard should of course take this in a heartbeat. Being able to deal that much extra damage for an entire minute while concentration is active. The unfortunate part is it is concentration though. So with a single bad roll after an attack, this 9th level spell is just gone. Very high risk, but high risk is good. I'm a fan of this. This is going to be a really powerful spell in the right hands, in the right scenario, so I am a fan of it. Moving on, we have Create Majen, a 7th level transmutation casting time, 1 hour touch range, which takes 500 gold worth of quicksilver and a life-sized human doll, which it consumes, and an intricate rod worth at least 1500 GP that is not consumed. That is important. Duration instantaneous. While casting the spell, you place a vial of quicksilver in the chest of a life-sized human doll stuffed with ash or dust. You then stitch up the doll and drip your blood in it. At the end of the casting, you tap the doll with a crystal rod, transforming it into a Majen clothed in whatever the doll was wearing. The type of Majen is chosen by you or during the casting of the spell. See Appendix C for the different kinds of Majen and their statistics. When a Majen appears, your hit point maximum decreases by an amount equal to the Majen's challenge rating, minimum reduction of 1. Only a wish spell can undo this reduction to your hit point maximum. Any Majen you create with this spell obeys your commands without question. So let's go take a look at what Majen is in general. So this is the description of Majen. Majen are magical human-like beings created by the wizard spell, so you create Majen in Appendix D, or by other arcane methods. The Majen look like humanoids with green skin. They are constructs. When one is wounded, its blood is seen to have the color and consistency of mercury. They exist purely through magical means. When one is killed, its body disappears in a burst of harmless fire and smoke that quickly dissipates. Magical servants. Majen make ideal servants. At creation, each is instilled with an instinct to protect itself and its creator, and it follows the creator's instructions without hesitation. When its task is complete, a Majen stands immobile and silent until its creator gives it new orders. So this is what a Majen generally looks like. At least this is what seems to be a warrior type Majen looks like. So these are the 3 types of Majen you get to choose when creating the spell with Create Majen. The first one is a Demos Majen, a medium construct unaligned, AC 16, decent stats with decent damage. Now, the important part is, remember, is that your hit point maximum goes down by the CR rating of the Majen that you create. So that isn't really too much, because by the time you get to cast this spell at 7th level magic, you're going to have quite a bit of hit points, and only taking a -2 to your maximum just to create like basically a servant for you is really not that bad. Now, the unfortunate part is that it sounds like your hit point maximum stays reduced. There's no way to get those hit points back again other than a wish spell. So casting this too many times already as kind of a weak wizard, actually, like in terms of how high your hit point maximum could be, it's not very high. This is a risky spell to use more than once. It only lasts 1 hour, so you would have to use this spell very sparingly. Let's look at the other Majen. We have the Galvan Majen. Galvan Majen can fly. They also store static electricity, which they discharge as lightning bolts. So this is the Caster Majen, CR3, so you're taking a -3 to your hit points. Your static discharge, decent damage, shocking touch. And for finally, we have the Hypnos Majen. Are telepathic and use the power of suggestion to control others. Their creators use them to force enemies to withdraw or surrender. A Hypnos Majen carries no weapons, relying entirely on its psychic ability to manipulate and harm other creatures. Only a CR1, only taking 1 maximum hit point lower when you take this. Fiery and at the Majen dies by disintegrates. Same thing as the others. The special abilities with this one are the Psychic Lash. The Majen's eyes glow silver as it targets one creature within 60 feet. The targets make a DC 12 Wisdom save or take 2d10 psychic damage, or it can cast Suggestion. So a blood sacrifice basically to get servants that can do various things, and you get to choose which one it is. This is really interesting. I have no idea how good this is or how powerful these entities are. Only 34 hit points, 68 hit points, and 51 hit points at 7th level. It's an extra party member, and action economy is everything in D&D, so I feel like this is way better than I'm giving it credit for, but again, I will have to use this in a game to fully grasp just how powerful this could possibly be. And finally, for the final spell, we only got 3 of them in this book, we have Frost Fingers, a 1st level evocation, 1 action casting time, 15-foot cone, instantaneous, freezing cold blast from your fingertips in a 15-foot cone. Each creature in that area must make a Constitution saving throw, taking 2d8 cold damage on a failed save as much as a successful one. The cold freezes non-magical liquids that are not being worn or carried. When you cast a spell using a slot higher, you get an additional 1d8 for each slot you cast this higher. That's pretty good. There isn't too much to say about this. It's a solid 1st level damage spell that's in a cone, deals cold damage. Freezing non-magical liquids is a cool add, but that's probably the least interesting one on here, and it's probably the most reliable of all 3 of these. So with that, that is the brand new spells introduced in Icewind Dale, Rime of the Frostmaiden. Again, these are meant to be discovered in a specific spell book, but again, do with that information what you will. In the next video, we will be covering the magic items. There are a lot of them, including, apparently, a Scroll of Tarask. Yep, the meme is true. The Scroll of Tarask is actually in this book. It's called Scroll of Tarask Summoning, right here. We're going to talk about this next time, so if you guys haven't already, be sure to subscribe. I will be reviewing this probably within the next couple hours after this first video goes up, so be sure to subscribe if you don't want to miss that. Like the video if you enjoyed it, and until next time, guys, happy gaming.